Welcome back, viewers. You're watching WION World is One. This is World DNA, the show that gets you ahead of the rest. I'm Shivan Chandna.
And I'm Heem Korsara, and on the show today, US President Donald Trump has admitted that he does not in fact know if Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky will end up meeting. Of course, we appear to be at a stalemate once again. How things will pan out going forward, that's of course something that remains to be seen. We'll be covering that on the show today.
Also on World DNA on the other war front, following the deadly Israeli strike on a hospital in Gaza that killed at least 20 people, Prime Minister Netanyahu has expressed regret over the incident, and we'll be tracking on the developments from the West Asia front as well. This and a lot more lined up for you. Let's start with the headlines. This is World DNA.
United States officially issues notice imposing additional 25% tariffs on imports from India, with the new total 50% duty set to take effect on the 27th of August. Prime Minister Modi stays firm, saying we'll find a way out despite pressure.
Israeli Prime Minister expresses his regret for a strike that killed 20 people, including 5 journalists at a hospital in the Gaza Strip. US President says he is not happy to hear about it.
I don't want to see it. At the same time, we have to end that whole nightmare. For 4 years it didn't take place, but if I were president, this war would have never taken place.
Donald Trump warns of consequences if Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky do not meet. Says he does not know if the two leaders will end up meeting.
And they say, we don't need him, freedom, freedom. He's a dictator, he's a dictator. A lot of people are saying maybe we like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator.
Trump responds to critics who slam the administration's use of National Guard and temporary seizure of police force in Washington, D.C., rejecting the accusations that he is a dictator.
You know, we want to have a meeting. I like to have a meeting. I get along great with him. You know, you were there. We even had a press conference. He had his first press conference. Kim Jong-un had a press conference. This was a little different press conference. My friend.
Donald Trump says he hopes to meet again with North Korea's Kim Jong-un possibly this year, as he holds White House talks with South Korean President Lee Jae-myung.
Donald Trump muses again on renaming the Department of Defense and restore its original title, Department of War, arguing the older version had a stronger sound.
Iranian state media says nuclear talks scheduled for today between Iran and Britain, France and Germany will be held in Geneva. Meeting will be the second since Iran's 12-day war with Israel in mid-June.
Trump administration's top justice official, Pam Bondi, hails landmark victory as Mexican drug lord Ismael El Mayo Zambada changes his plea to guilty, meaning he faces life imprisonment and loses $15 billion.
A massive dust storm clogged the skies in the U.S. state of Arizona. The National Weather Service described the dust storm in the county area as Haboob. The storm frequently occurs during the summer monsoon season in the southwest United States.
In a dramatic move, President Trump has removed Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook from her post, citing allegations of mortgage fraud and asserting executive authority, raising fresh concerns over political interference in the Fed's independence.
Now, following the deadly Israeli strike on a hospital in Gaza yesterday that killed at least 20, Netanyahu has expressed regret over the incident.
His reaction comes at a time when Israel is facing massive backlash over the hospital strike, as 5 journalists were also among the dead. While calling the attack a tragic mishap, Netanyahu said that Israel regrets it. He went on to say that his country's war is against Hamas and the goal is to bring back the hostages.
In addition to that, US President Donald Trump has also reacted to the hospital strike and said that he is not happy about it and does not want to see it. He reiterated that Gaza war is a nightmare which should end. He also added that there is very serious diplomatic push to end the war.
Well, I'm not happy about it. I don't want to see it. At the same time, we have to end that whole nightmare. I'm the one that got the hostages out. I got them out, all of them.
Meanwhile, Israeli army has announced an immediate inquiry into the Gaza hospital attack. They expressed regret and said they don't have the intention to hurt civilians.
The Chief of the General Staff has instructed that an inquiry be conducted immediately to understand the circumstances of what happened and how it happened.
Now, Turkey President Tayyip Erdogan strongly condemned the deadly strike and said that Israel is carrying out villainous attacks. Listen to this.
At least 20 Palestinians, including 5 journalists, were martyred in Israel's brutal attack on Nasser Hospital in Gaza. The demented Netanyahu government continues its villainous attacks without pause to destroy everything that stands in the name of humanity.
Furthermore, UN chief also condemned the attack. He reiterated his call for an immediate and permanent ceasefire and release of all hostages being held in Gaza. As per reports, Israeli Security Cabinet will be meeting in Jerusalem today to discuss renewed negotiations for a ceasefire and a hostage release deal. This comes days after Hamas accepted a new 60-day ceasefire proposal, but put forward by mediators.
In a separate development, though, Yemen's Houthi rebels said that at least 10 people were killed and more than 90 injured in Israeli strikes in the capital city Sana'a. The strike came as retaliation after Houthis fired missiles towards Israel.
The US president has admitted that he doesn't know if Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukraine's President Zelensky will end up meeting.
Now, Trump has been pushing for direct talks between the two leaders and even volunteered to join them if needed. But Russia's top diplomat Sergei Lavrov has made it clear that Putin won't meet with Zelensky until the Ukrainians agree to some of Moscow's long-standing demands to end the conflict.
Ukrainian and US officials are expected to meet later this week to discuss a potential meeting between Kiev and Moscow. During an Oval Office meeting with South Korea's President Lee Jae-myung, the US president said that he was unclear whether the Putin-Zelensky meeting will take place. Trump said this to the reporters: maybe they will, maybe they won't. But he also warned that there would be consequences if the meeting does not happen.
how long are you willing to let this play out? And if they don't meet, will there be consequences, and how soon for Russia?
Yeah, there could be very big consequences, but we'll see what happens. There might be very big consequences because this is something that has to end. This war would have never taken place, and for 4 years it didn't take place. But if I were president, this war would have never taken place.
Trump also said that he has spoken to his Russian counterpart Putin since a meeting in Washington last week with Ukraine's Zelensky and other European leaders, and asked how the latest talks went. Trump reiterated his frustration with the hostilities that have followed such calls.
Have you spoken to Putin since last Monday?
Yeah, I have.
What is your conversation? Or can you share?
Every conversation I have with him is a good conversation, and then unfortunately a bomb is loaded up into Kiev or someplace, and then I get very angry about it. I think we're going to get the war done. It's tough.
Now, Trump said that he previously thought that the war in Ukraine will be the easiest one to stop, as he enjoyed a good relationship with Putin, but admitted that it was actually very complex. Asked why Putin appears reluctant to sit down with Zelensky, Trump replied, and I'm quoting here, because he doesn't like him.
I thought this would be in many ways the easiest way. I have a very good relationship with Putin. I thought it would be the easiest one to stop, and it's really not. It's very complex. It's very personal from their standpoint. There's tremendous dislike personally between the two men, and we're going to have to straighten that out. But I would like to see them meet first. They'd like me to be there. I may be there.
The US president added that he has not discussed specific security guarantees for Ukraine and reaffirmed the US commitment to support the country.
Ukrainian President Zelensky met US envoy Keith Kellogg in Kiev. Zelensky said they discussed exerting pressure on Russia to hold real talks. He also said that security cooperation is important for both Ukraine and the US, particularly in regards to weapons purchases and development and sale of drones. Now, Zelensky also said that Russia's recent proposals for peace do not amount to real concessions. And according to sources, Putin is demanding that Ukraine give up all of the eastern Donbass region, renounce ambitions to join NATO, remain neutral, and keep Western troops out of the country on return for ending Russia's attacks.
Now, what I think
As for Russia's concessions, I don't know about them. I don't think that the things that were said by the Russian side, that they are ready not to seize more of Ukraine anymore, are concessions.
Now, Germany has said that Ukraine needs important security guarantees, so Putin no longer dares to attack Ukraine. During a visit to Kyiv, German Vice-Chancellor Lars Klingbeil also said that Berlin planned to spend $10.5 billion supporting Kyiv over 2 years. The Norwegian government also proposed to keep its aid to Ukraine at $8.5 billion in 2026.
Meanwhile, Russia has claimed to have captured another settlement in Ukraine's Dnipropetrovsk region. Video shared by the Defense Ministry showed soldiers holding Russian and other flags in reportedly captured settlements of Zaporizhzhia.
And Donald Trump has met with South Korean President Lee Jae-myung at the White House.
Well, the meeting comes after Trump warned online that the US might just sever business ties with Seoul, citing what he called a purge or revolution, pointing to raids on churches and a US military base as well.
Now, during the talks, Trump pushed for the United States to take ownership of land where American military bases are located in South Korea. He also urged Seoul to shoulder some more of the costs for hosting the US troops stationed there.
We have a very good relationship militarily. They would say, but we gave you land. I said, no, you didn't. You lease us land. There's a big difference between giving and leasing. And maybe one of the things I'd like to do is ask them to give us ownership of the land where we have the big fort. You know, we spent a lot of money building a fort, and there was a contribution made by South Korea, but I would like to see if we could get rid of the lease and get ownership of the land where we have a massive military base.
South Korean President Lee Jae-myung praised Trump's leadership, pointing to strong US economic performance and record levels on the Dow Jones Index. Lee said that he wants to build a future-oriented alliance with Washington Describing Trump's role as a peacemaker as significant, he also urged Trump to support Korean reunification, even suggesting development projects in the north, such as the possibility of a Trump Tower.
I would like to mention that the only remaining dividing issue in the world is the Korean Peninsula, and I would like to ask for your role in establishing peace on the Korean Peninsula. So I look forward to your meeting with Chairman Kim Jong-un and the construction of a Trump Tower in North Korea and playing golf at that place.
Now, the US president has said that he's looking to meet again with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, possibly later this year.
Kim Jong-un will meet at some point. I look forward to it, actually. But do you notice that since I came into office, you haven't had a problem with him? Hasn't been, you know, he tests lots of rockets. He does have great capability, I will say that.
President Lee Jae-myung also unveiled a $150 billion initiative branded Make America Shipbuilding Great Again, MASGA. The package includes plans for new US shipyards, training programs for shipbuilding workers, and maintenance support for the US Navy.
Now, after talks with President Trump, South Korean President Lee Jae-myung warned that North Korea could soon be capable of producing 10 to 20 nuclear weapons each year. He criticized the hard-line policies of his predecessor, saying sanctions and pressure had failed to slow Pyongyang's program. President Lee emphasized that South Korea remains committed to conventional deterrence, but noted his government is also taking steps to reduce tensions, including an end to loudspeaker broadcasts along the border.
And Washington has made a sharp pivot in Africa. The United States, under President Trump, is resetting relations with West Africa's military junta leaders.
Right, and the US is offering against jihadists in exchange for access to minerals. Under Joe Biden, the United States suspended most aid to Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger after their series of military coups. But with Donald Trump back in the White House, the US is back in the region.
In recent weeks, intelligence and forces to target senior American officials have been touring the region. Offer is the same for all three countries: American equipment, Al-Qaeda and Islamic State-linked groups. In return, the US wants guaranteed access to strategic minerals.
West Africa's Sahel is rich in minerals, but the region is also infested with constant infighting and terrorism. In 2024, Sahel accounted for 19% of all terrorist attacks worldwide and 51% of global terrorism-related deaths. Mali is rich in gold and lithium, that is key for electric car batteries. Burkina Faso has massive gold deposits, and Niger's uranium is among the most valuable in the world.
All this is happening as Russia and China are trying to expand their own footprint in the region. Moscow has sent Wagner mercenaries and now the Africa Corps to fight jihadists. China is investing heavily in infrastructure and in mines. Donald Trump's America First policy is highly transactional. In dictators or democracy, Trump is always looking for a deal. In West Africa, it has become the trade of security in return of resources.
Rare earths.
Now, a U.S. federal judge has temporarily blocked the deportation of Kilmar Abrego Garcia to Uganda. Garcia, who was wrongly deported to El Salvador in March and then sent back to the United States.
He was arrested in Baltimore on Monday by Immigration and Customs Enforcement. 30-year-old Garcia was released last week from a jail in Tennessee, where he is facing human smuggling charges. He was allowed to go home to Maryland pending the trial. The Department of Homeland Security had said that he will be processed for removal to Uganda. The attempt to deport Abrego Garcia to Uganda adds a new twist to a saga that became a test case for Trump's sprawling crackdown on illegal immigration, and critics say that his trampling of the law. And for more on this, our correspondent Susan sends us this report.
A federal federal judge in Maryland has temporarily blocked the Trump administration's attempt to deport Kilmar Abrego Garcia to Uganda. Abrego Garcia, who was mistakenly sent to a Salvadorian mega prison back in March and then returned under a Supreme Court order, denies human smuggling charges. His lawyers say that deporting him to Uganda, where he has no ties, would endanger him and is being used to pressure him into a plea deal. The judge ruled that the U.S. is absolutely forbidden from removing him from the continental U.S. for now, and said that she will hear further arguments on whether the administration can redeport him to another country. So what's next? More legal battles are expected as his defense pushes to keep him in the U.S. while the government pursues removal options, as his case has become a flashpoint in the administration's path in dealing with the issue of illegal immigrants. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.
Dangers of overspeeding, they're known to all, but alongside the associated fines, Turkey's transport minister seems to have forgotten both.
The minister was slapped with a speeding ticket after posting a video of himself driving 225 kilometers an hour on a highway, nearly twice the legal limit.
Well, a video posted by the minister on X shows him driving on the Ankara highway with a speedometer showing him driving far above the speed limit, prompting ridicule on social media and a public apology that followed.
Facing backlash for the speeding ticket, Iraolu posted its picture on social media. It read, and I'm quoting here, "I took the wheel to see the current situation of the Ankara highway. During this time, I unknowingly exceeded the speed limit for a short while. The traffic police issued a fine of 9,267 lira, which is equivalent to about $280.
Iraolu shared an image of the ticket on his social media.
Limit on the highway is 140 kilometers per hour, and according to official data, 6,351 people died in nearly 1.5 million road accidents in Turkey last year. Now, are we alone, or are alien visitors already hiding close to home?
Well, for decades, telescopes and radars have scanned the vast universe, searching for a single sign of extraterrestrial life. But now scientists have turned their gaze closer to Earth's own shadow, hunting mysterious probes lurking in the darkness. More in this next report. Take a look.
Are aliens there? We have countless telescopes, radars, and satellite arrays searching every corner of the universe for artificial signals. But a new approach is changing the game, shifting focus to a hidden zone much nearer Earth's shadow. This natural cone, cast high above Earth where no sunlight reaches, is a cosmic blind spot free from reflection by human satellites and space junk. A new study published in monthly notices of the Royal Astronomical Society describes this innovative method for detecting potential extraterrestrial probes near Earth. It's an ideal, quiet hunting ground for strange objects. The Lagrange points, gravitational sweet spots where objects hover effortlessly, sit within this shadow. These are natural parking spaces for interstellar visitors, places where alien technology could watch, wait, and record our every move. The hunt has already begun. Scientists are scanning for heat signatures, metallic reflections, anything that shouldn't be there but is. The implications are staggering. If probes exist in Earth's shadow, they've been documenting human civilization for decades, maybe centuries, recording our wars, our progress. Every eclipse creates this shadow highway. Every month, Earth's gravitational shadow sweeps across space, the perfect corridor for alien technology to slip past our defenses unnoticed. The hunt continues, the shadow keeps its secrets, but science is closing in.
And it's a gala in London. Drums are pounding, flags are fluttering, and dancers are swaying their way along the route. The annual Notting Hill Carnival is taking place in full swing.
Celebrating the city's iconic Caribbean culture, revelers, dancers and musicians are filling the streets of West London for the two-day annual Carnival, one of the world's largest street parties. that is estimated to draw around 2 million people to the British capital.
It means everything. I think people don't understand the sense of community that is so important to Carnival. There's so many people, but they bring so many people together. Like when you see the costumes, people have spent months making them, playing pan, people spend months, people do it with their whole heart, so it means everything.
Around 7,000 police officers have been deployed to ensure smooth sailing for the two-day carnival that started in 1966, culminating into a one-of-its-kind celebration of diversity and migrant culture in Europe.
The spirit of Carnival that unites multiple races in England has been marred in recent months by economic hardship, so much so that it was on the verge of being cancelled for this year's edition.
Now, just weeks before the event, nearly £1 million in funding from the London Mayor's office and 2 local councils allowed it to go ahead, but concerns about its future remain. And this is also causing the revellers to worry about its future.
The carnival this year also takes place in the backdrop of rising anti-migrant sentiments in the UK and beyond in Europe. Just as bejeweled dancers line up in the streets of London, anti-migrant demonstrators and counter-protesters faced off in other parts of the UK over the housing of asylum seekers. And with that, it's time now for a short break, but don't go anywhere. Coming up next, Indian Air Force pilots took their last emotional sorties in Bikaner ahead of the official farewell for the legendary Russian-origin MiG-21 that is set to take place next month. Also on the other side, US President Donald Trump has removed Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook from her position at the US Central Bank effective immediately. More details on the other side. Stay tuned.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, world is one. From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
Ready to dive into your daily dose of news?
Bringing you what's trending in the West and all that's setting trends in the East.
And all of this served up with a side of insightful banter.
We don't just bring you the latest stories.
We bring you your talking points for the day.
And while you do that, from the busy streets of New York, I will provide you with deeper insights on the developments through the course of the day in the U.S.
The show that keeps you ahead of the global curve. A conversation you'd want to be a part of.
A place where news becomes an engaging exchange.
We bring you stories that impact your present.
This is World DNA.
Join the conversation.
Where darkness hides behind every corner. Where the truth is stranger than fiction. A show that dives deep into the stories which shock and mystify.
unsolved murders, psychopaths who defy explanation, international war crimes, and millions swindled in financial fraud. The victims, the accused, and the sinister plot. Prime Crime is your front row seat to darkness.
Vielleicht nur als Imposant.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching World DNA with Haim. I'm Shivan. Lots more to discuss. Let's start with the headlines.
Donald Trump says he expects to visit China this year, noting that economic ties between the two countries have improved, keeps door open to hiking tariffs, saying China has to give US magnates or face 200% tariffs.
South Korea President Lee Jae-myung says North Korea could soon produce 10 to 20 nuclear weapons per year as he calls for efforts to lower tensions during his talks with US President Trump.
United States officially issues notice imposing additional 25% tariffs on imports from India, with total new 50% duties set to take effect on the 27th of August. Prime Minister Modi stays firm, saying we'll find a way out despite pressure.
Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu expresses his regret for a strike that killed 20 people, including 5 journalists at a hospital in the Gaza Strip. Donald Trump says he is not happy to hear about it.
Well, I'm not happy about it. I don't want to see it. At the same time, we have to end that whole nightmare. Yeah, there could be very big consequences, but we'll see what happens, because this is something that has to end. This war would have never taken place, and for 4 years it didn't take place. But if I were president, this war would have never taken place.
Donald Trump warns of consequences if Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky do not meet. Says he doesn't know if the two leaders will end up meeting.
Donald Trump muses again on renaming the Department of Defense and restore its original title, Department of War, arguing that the older version had a stronger sound.
Trump administration's top justice official Pam Bondi hails landmark victories. Mexican drug lord Ismael Almayo Zambada changes his plea to guilty, meaning he faces life imprisonment and losing $15 billion.
A massive dust storm clogged the skies in U.S. state of Arizona. The National Weather Service described the dust storm in the county area as a haboob. The storm frequently occurs during the summer monsoon season in the southwest United States.
Asia Pacific markets mostly slipped Tuesday, echoing Wall Street losses as investors reacted to Trump's tough talk on China and awaited key US data. Japan's Nikkei and South Korea's Kospi both dipped, while China's stocks bucked the trend, extending gains.
Local hope and Australian Open champion Madison Keys knocked out in the first round of the US Open. The sixth seed suffered a surprise defeat to world number 82 Renata Zarazua. The United States has officially issued a public notice imposing additional 25% tariffs on imports from India, with the new duties set to take effect on the 27th of August.
Now, this comes as Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has issued a sharp message to Washington saying India will withstand the pressure. As per the official public notice, the new duties will take effect from the 27th of August, midnight. The notice has been issued by the Department of Homeland Security through U.S. Customs and Border Protection. The order directed U.S. agencies to respond to threats to the United States by the government of the Russian Federation, with India being targeted for new duties as part of that policy.
India, however, has vowed to not back down. On Sunday, speaking at a rally in Ahmedabad, Prime Minister Modi said that India would withstand the pressure and keep increasing its strengths.
मेरे देश के लघु उद्यमी हो, किसान हो, पशुपालक हो, हर किसी के लिए मैं आपको बार बार वादा करता हूं, मोदी के लिए आपके हित सर्वोपरि है। देशवासियों से भी मैं बार बार आग्रह कर रहा हूं, हमें जीवन के अंदर एक मंत्र बनाना है। हम जो भी खरीदेंगे वो मेड इन इंडिया होगा, स्वदेशी होगा।
The remarks come ahead of US tariffs announced coming into effect. Apart from 25% tariffs, US had added an additional 25% penalty for India's Russian oil purchases. Washington has accused New Delhi of indirectly funding Moscow's war in Ukraine through these imports. India rejected the claim, pointing out that Europe and the US themselves continue to buy Russian oil.
Over the weekend, Foreign Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar also took a swipe at US over the issue. He mocked the American stance as ironic for pro-business American administration. He also added, if you don't like Indian oil or refined products, don't buy them. Nobody is forcing you.
With the tariff deadline nearing and India putting its foot down, it seems like broad red lines have been drawn in this standoff. A trade deal between Washington and New Delhi seems unlikely in the near future.
Now, it's the end of an era in India's skies. After serving the nation for more than 6 decades, the legendary Russian origin MiG-21 fighter jets are ready for their final goodbye.
Indian Air Force pilots, they took their last emotional sorties in Bikaner ahead of the official farewell next month. The Indian Air Force MiG-21 fighter jets made their final operational flights at the Air Force Station in Bikaner on the 18th and 19th of August, and this is a month ahead of the formal retirement ceremony to be held in Chandigarh on the 26th of September, marking a significant shift in India's military aviation history. MiG-21 served as the backbone of the Indian Air Force combat fleet, one of the 6 fighter jets flown by the IAF since 1963.
MiG-21s, known as the workhorse of the Indian Air Force for several decades, entered service in 1963 on a trial basis, a year after India bought them from the Soviet Union. The supersonic fighter jets were India's first combat aircraft of non-Western origin. They went on to become the asset of the Indian Air Force, from 1970 to the mid-2000s. till the Su-30 Mk were pressed into action.
MiG-21s are designed to operate in all weather conditions and carry a wide variety of air-to-ground munitions in an attack role. The supersonic fighter jets, having a speed of 2,175 kilometers per hour, operate on the ceiling. It operates on the ceiling of 58,000 feet, allowing high altitude interception. The jet has a range of 370 kilometers with functional roles including a supersonic interceptor, air-to-air missiles, air-to-ground weapons, and even cannons.
Now talking about the war legacy then, MiG-21 was first tested in 1965 Indo-Pak War. MiG-21 played a major role during the 1971 war with Pakistan, dropping about 500 kilograms of bombs on the Pakistani air bases. It also saw the first ever encounter between the MiG-21 and Pakistan's F-104A, with India dominating the skies. The jet returned to action during the 1999 Cargill War, flying daring high-altitude strike missions against enemy positions.
But aging technology at a high accident rate claimed over 200 pilots and 60 civilians, prompting the shift to modern fighters like the Tejas and Rafale. The final squadron will retire on the 26th of September in Chandigarh, ending an unforgettable chapter in India's aviation history.
Now moving on, jailed ex-Prime Minister Imran Khan's party is facing fresh setbacks in connection to the May 9, 2023 violence.
Faisalabad Anti-Terrorism Court has convicted 75 leaders of his now banned PTI party. Now, the decision came on Monday with the ATC of the city of Faisalabad convicting 75 PTI leaders from a total list of 109 accused, and this includes central PTI leadership and 88 party workers, all of whom faced several charges in relation to the May 9th violence cases. Of this, 59 individuals have been sentenced to 10 years in jail. 16 others were handed 3-year prison terms. Of the 59, court has sentenced senior leaders Omar Ayub, Shibli Faraz, Zartaj Gul and Ismail Sela to 10 years in prison. Faraz and Ayub have also been convicted in other cases related to the May 9th violence, as well as Shibli Faraz, who has already been disqualified from the Senate, while Omar Ayub was ousted from the National Assembly over their guilty verdicts in earlier cases.
The ATC has acquitted 34 leaders and party workers, including former Federal Minister Fawad Chaudhry and Zain Qureshi, son of senior PTI leader Shah Mahmood Qureshi. This is the fourth such verdict in cases related to violent protests on the 9th of May, 2 years ago.
The latest legal setback comes just 2 days after authorities arrested Imran Khan's nephews in relation to the same case. On Saturday, a Pakistani court sent jailed former Prime Minister's nephew Sher Shah Khan in remand for 5 days in connection to the violence. Both nephews were arrested at a one-day gap. Sher Shah was apprehended on the 22nd of August in Lahore, while his brother Shahrez Khan was arrested on Thursday during a raid at his house.
Violence spiraled on the 9th of May in 2023 following the arrest of PTI founder and former President Imran Khan, who has since been battling several legal cases. The protest spiraled into chaos while Pakistan's Supreme Court has granted bail to Imran Khan in all charges related to the 9th of May violence. The PTI founder remains in prison in relation to the Al-Qadr Trust corruption case.
And Indonesia is racing to contain a deadly measles outbreak in East Java.
The government has launched a mass vaccination drive, and this after the virus claimed at least 17 lives in just 8 months and infected more than 2,000 children.
Hundreds of children lined up at the healthcare center and kindergartens in Sumeneb district in hopes that the measles rubella vaccine will save their lives. Authorities say 16 out of the 17 children who died had never been vaccinated, and this underscores the urgent need to bridge the immunization gaps. The mass campaign is led by the Ministry of Health with support from provincial and local agencies across both the mainland and islands of the district. Authorities aim to vaccinate nearly 79,000 children between 9 months and 6 years old.
But not only this, officials are working together with community and religious leaders. They aspire to counter misinformation after past concerns over vaccine ingredients slowed uptake.
Indonesia's national measles vaccination rate is only 72%, with some regions reporting less than 50% coverage. Health experts warn that the virus spreads rapidly and can be deadly, especially among unvaccinated children. According to the Indonesia Ministry of Health, year 2022 records the highest number of measles cases, and that is over 4,800, which is followed by the year 2023, in which the figure was 2,161. Now, measles is a highly contagious viral disease that spreads through the air and contaminated surfaces.
Now, it often starts with a fever, cough and red eyes, followed by white spots in the mouth and a rash on the body. While it can be prevented with 2 doses of MMR vaccine, measles can lead to serious complications like pneumonia and brain swelling. This can even be fatal in young children or those with weak immunity. Health experts say high vaccination coverage is the key to stopping the outbreaks.
Now, authorities hope the emergency campaign will curb the outbreak and prevent further loss of young lives in the region.
Now, in France, a helicopter crashed into a pond as it tried to scoop water to battle fire.
An eyewitness video shows how the helicopter lost balance and crashed into the pond. Take a look at these visuals.
All right, let's now take a look at all the top stories making headlines in India at this hour. Thousands turned out in Pulwama for the first ever day-night cricket match in South Kashmir. The inaugural game of the Royal Premier League saw Royal Goodwill face Sultan Springs, Baramulla, with 12 teams from across Jammu and Kashmir taking part. Local legislator called the event a landmark for youth engagement, describing it as the start of a new innings for the region's youngsters.
In Bihar's Saharsa district, a bridge in Bhilai village has collapsed due to flooding. District Magistrate Deepesh Kumar said the bridge and adjoining road gave way because of rising waters. An investigation team from the Rural Construction Department is assessing the damage. Officials say a revised plan will be prepared once the report is submitted, after which reconstruction work will begin.
In Delhi, the Yamuna River has swelled near the danger mark following the intermittent rains in the capital and neighbouring areas. Officials say the situation is being monitored closely. Residents have been urged to stay alert and follow safety advisory.
In a significant move that has sent ripples through financial markets, President Donald Trump has removed Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook from her position at the U.S. Central Bank.
Now, President Trump announced the removal of Lisa Cook via a letter posted on his social media platform Truth Social, citing allegations of mortgage fraud. Trump also accused Cook of falsely claiming 2 properties, one in Michigan, another in Georgia, as her primary residence at the same time.
Cook has denied any wrongdoing, saying she refuses to be bullied out of her position. Lisa Cook, who made history as the first black woman appointed to the Federal Reserve Board, was confirmed by the Senate to a full 14-year term in September 2023. Her tenure was marked by her cautious approach to interest rate cuts, advocating for a careful balance between economic growth and inflation control. The allegations leading to her removal have raised concerns about the politicization of the Federal Reserve, an institution traditionally known for its independence in monetary policy decisions.
Markets responded swiftly to the news. The dollar fell, reflecting a weaker dollar. The two-year Treasury yield sensitive to Fed policy fell by 4 basis points, indicating investor uncertainty. Stock futures were already slightly lower before the announcement and continued drifting down afterwards. Meanwhile, gold futures rose by 0.3%, often a safe haven in uncertain times.
This unprecedented action against a sitting Federal Reserve governor marks a pivotal moment in the ongoing debate over the central bank's independence and its role in shaping U.S. economic policy.
Now, an astonishing view captured in a time lapse reveals the Milky Way drifting slowly over the ancient ruins of Palmyra in Syria.
This UNESCO World Heritage Site endured severe damage throughout the country's 13-year civil war. Take a look at these stunning images. Two-time Wimbledon champion Petra Kvitova bid an emotional farewell to professional tennis after losing to France's Diane Parry in the first round of the US Open.
Now, Kvitova had announced ahead of Wimbledon that the US Open would be her swan song. The 35-year-old arrived in New York with a little match practice and having recovered from a recent bout of COVID-19. The rustiness showed as the former world #2, after being broken early by Parry, fought back to level at 1-all. But that was her only success in the opening set, which she lost 1-6. A visibly emotional Kvitova took a break between sets but could not turn things around when play resumed. The 31-time career titleist won just 4 points behind her own serve and suffered a second set bagel as Parry sealed a 6-1, 6-0 victory. The loss brought tears and an end to her illustrious 18-year career.
Kvitova made her professional debut in 2006 and lifted her first title 3 years later in Hobart. In 2011, she matched top-ranked Caroline Wozniacki with a WTA Tour leading 6 titles. From that point, she won at least 1 title every year for 9 straight seasons. Her career nearly ended in 2016 when an intruder stabbed her left hand at home, but she returned to competition in June 2017 and even reached the Australian Open final 2 years later. Kvitova missed the entire 2024 season to have her son, returned in February this year, but managed just 1 win since. Wimbledon, where she triumphed twice, will always be her greatest stage, as one of the sport's biggest hitters bows out.
You know, it was a long journey to get to the top 100 and to get really up. And it was many years playing under the pressure as well as being top 10 for a long time. Being Grand Slam champion, it's great pressure to have for sure. It was a lot of pressure overall in my tennis career, on and off the court as well. But I enjoyed it. I think I did it quite well.
Now, the African American Film Critics Awards was a star-studded night with the likes of Megan Good, Sterling K. Brown and Kathy Bates in attendance. Take a look.
Movies. I just love horror movies. Like growing up, I wanted to be the little girl, Danielle, who played Jamie in Halloween 4 and 5. That was like one of the biggest things that made me want to be an actress. But I kind of love every genre. I really love comedy. With Harlem, I got a chance to explore my brand of comedy because I used to be so scared of it. And I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. And then I realized that I don't know if this is going to work is the funny, you know? So just leaning into my goofy and my brand has been really wonderful. And I want to continue to explore that.
And with that, we call a wrap on this edition of World DNA.
And before we slip into a short break, here's a look at all the climate stories making headlines across the world. Stay with us. This is WION World is One.
India's Global Voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is One.
YO1 Health Resort is unique, the only one of its kind. Experience the 4 paths of natural wellness: yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy. Each uniquely customized program improves the whole person to make every person whole. Come to YO1 Health Resort. Make your reservation at yo1.com.